job at Clue. One day at the office, I was acting too cool, too aloof, and they fired my ass. That job fell through. Muttered to myself, fuck, bro, make it, bro. Pick myself back up, my swagger's still too smooth. Yeah, the funds just transferred. You could call me a chancellor the way I'm such a tactician. Don't hand me no map if it ain't got no traps hidden. Yeah, you talking to a tactician. I need some detours, I need some echoes, I need some shadows. Bitch, this the digital Indiana Jones. Hey. All right. Pick myself back up this one. Just confirming this works. Let's do this real quick. This is live. Vitamin Dell. All right. Pick myself back up this one. All right, baller. I think it looks like it works well. Just confirming this works. Let's. Fantastic. Oh, magnificent. All right. So, real quick, let's pull up Obsidian. This is what we were doing yesterday, right? So, I think this is what we'll try to stick with. We're gonna add a new note: daily vitamins. Episode 18. Man, look at us. Almost 3 weeks doing this. Pretty cool. I'm excited. If I hit vitamin, it's our look at that. Wow, perfect. Okay, so let's check out the markets. Okay, Bitcoin, 84,934. That seems like basically what it was yesterday. This is increased 118,622. 118,622. All right. I think this that's interesting. Maybe I rounded up yesterday. I'm not even sure. What's the market cap today? All right, market capitalization same as yesterday. 1.6. That don't even make sense. I guess new bitcoins have been added to the circulation, perhaps. Perhaps. Canadian dollar got stronger yesterday, I guess. That's what it looks like here, at least reading this. I will. I can't even pull it up. Pull this up so you can see what I'm looking at. Market cap 2.351 trillion. Okay, Hot 8 seems to have fallen off a crisp. A cliff. But sneeze. Excuse me. Apologies. 1576, 1.63 something billion. 1576. 1.635. Okay. Let's check out the channel real quick. YouTube. View channel. Okay. I do need to. Let's manage these really quickly because I just I had a heck of a time. I was experimenting with some different clay, or not clay, sorry. Upcoming. We're gonna delete forever. I understand, delete forever. And I understand, delete forever. Yeah. All right. So that's cool. If we go here, go to the dashboard. My channel. What's it say here? Okay, so 394 views. 394 views. Very cool. Very cool. Oh, 25 videos. 6 subscribers. I've not stretched. I've not stretched. This is not really what should be done, but let's do it real quick. Couple stretches. 'Ow. There it is, sunlight. Oh. All right. This is what I'm saying, bro. I don't feel like this quality looks good on here. Kind of bothers me. All right, cool. Got the stretching out of the way. Happy about that. Just clean up here a little bit. And let's get ready to have a great day. Am I right? Oh. Pen here. Put up the mouse. Oh, put that there. This all looks good. Looks good. Good. I think I will spend the next little bit on this chair. All right, guys. If anybody watches this, would love to hear your thoughts on which setup I should have. Because I kind of like this one here. You know, like I don't know if it looks the best, but I feel like it flips something on its head, and I kind of rock with it, to be honest. So it's I'll be honest and say it is something I'm thinking about. Does it work well though? The way I'm such a tactician. Don't hand me no map if it ain't got no traps hidden. Yeah, you took it to a tactician. I need some detours. I need some echoes. I need some shadows. Bitch, this the digital Indiana Jones. Hey. All right, so where were we yesterday? Basically where we left off is we got this to work in terms of plugging in the HTTP API. But because there is like a lot of work going on under the hood, right? Like not only do we have to ping my server, but then that server actually has to ping the V0, and then the V0 itself actually has to write the thing out. So there is like a good, I would say, 3 to 7 seconds where when you run it in Clay, that this API request, like before it even gets started on V0, and then V0, probably takes, I'm gonna say 90 seconds. So what I'm finding is that the Clay tables HTTP, it kind of times out. I really would love more like debugging ability or capabilities within Clay. I have noticed this a few different times where I'm kind of like, hey, it just failed. It doesn't really do a great job yet at really helping you understand why it failed, and I think ultimately getting the most out of the tool is just being able to know why it failed so you can debug that and really make it like a part of your work, sort of like tech stack. In the same way that you can debug in the terminal. I feel, without knowing too much about how you would do something like that, it feels like it should be able to like just store the error to a variable and send it. And this just isn't really super in-depth. But anyways, that's where we're at. Let's try to run this. Make sure everything's working. All right, it's queued. It should pop up a screen here. Yeah, it did. Nice. Okay. Still working fantastic. Great, great, great. Let's put down some notes here. Is your friend? All right, well, that's doing that. Let's plan. So, um, need to solve the timed out error in Clay right now. Mm, You know what? Let's really do the thing today, guys. I'm using all the AI tools, so let's go into Gemini here. Gemini. Um, Listen to your file, generate an audio overview PDF. Nice. And I love that stuff that they're doing there. For everyday tasks plus more features. Okay, so let's hold our horses here, Dylan. So it generates this. Cool, cool, cool. I imagine that we go in here. Oh, it's cute. Interesting. So it already generated the V0. Is this done? Huh. Okay. It did time out. Interesting. Okay. So let's go Obsidian here. So I need to solve the timed out error in Clay. Right now, uh, I think we should be able to grab the initial URL it creates because the final one, like if I go into this, where is it? Yeah, right here. This is not the original. Well, let's even do another one just so you guys can see what I'm referring to. So start this one. It should pop this up. Now, if I go in here, it'll log me in. That's all great. I'll grab this first URL that pops up here. So once it actually types it in and creates this chat, then I can go in here. If I copy paste this, let's just put it in Obsidian. That will not be what the final one is. And this, I should be able to just pass this one, I think. I should be able to simply for the final, i.e. this versus, it should give me one and they're going to point to the same actual place. So that's good. But let's confirm. I'm going to plug this laptop in. Beautiful day out here in British Columbia. It's yesterday really felt like summer, like pretty warm. Got hot in the house, and today feels pretty warm as well. I'm excited for a beautiful day. All right, so it is timed out. Let's go look at that. Actually, though, it's still going. So some of them, I guess, take longer than others, which naturally makes sense. It could also be that I don't have Oh, interesting. It hasn't really done that with other ones. Um, that's interesting. View menu. I really like that one though. That's cool. Okay. All right, so that's cool. But anyways, as I mentioned, here is a different link now. So if I go into here, I need to let's clean up the shop here. I apologize, guys. We'll leave that one because that was the opening today. We can close that. We're gonna close that. Okay. So if I go into here, no, not here. If I go into here, I paste that. Both of these should take me to the same, like chat, right? So that's great. And then if we go here, this will take me to the exact same one. So I think the timeout is basically a bunch of stuff is happening, and this function doesn't finish running and until after I guess Clay's table times up. So a way to make Clay extend its function or API call wait time. I'm not even sure what the right term for something like this would be, but let's go with that. Okay, so I need to solve this timed out thing. A little bit more hack. Probably good to explore. Fix this within Clay. Okay, so there's that. Need to solve how can I okay, right now. So that's more Clay related. Let's go in here though. Let's actually need to solve the timed out thing. Okay. What other integrations could we use to make this zero shot prompt better for V0 that we can get within Clay? Few ideas. I think I was reading about this last night. So yeah, sort of a separate thing, but what would make this better? What was that? Make this better. So stock images, I think is like one stock images. V0 can't download them from their website, I guess. Should we generate new ones? Generate a new logo. Is there a simpler or is there a simpler way we could do online websites for restaurants, or is there a better way? Is there a like more artistic way? What is there simpler? I don't know. What other integrations do we use for zero shot prompt to make the zero shot prompt better? What would be valuable? Maybe like competitors. Maybe competitors. Maybe the Google Maps API for reviews and stars. Um, mhm. Um, so images, yeah. Those are a few thoughts. And I don't have that much time today, so mm, mhm. uh, use Clayagent for cold email generation to sell this redesign. What else? I think those are I would say those are probably the major things that I want to get to today. Those are probably the major ones. Looking into V0 Premium, I think you get just more usage. More usage. Replit agent, perhaps. Lovable.dev. More usage can give a standard or yeah, can give a system prompt. Can give a system prompts. That would make them better, I think. Yeah, I think those are the main things I want to look into. Maybe actually deploying this. Um, yeah, yeah, I think that's kind of the plan. Is that a good plan? All right, let me go to the washroom and I'll think about that. Make sure that we're locked in on that, and then I'm gonna get cracking. So let me actually throw on the brakes. Let me say 3 minutes. something to the tactician. You got no tracks handy. Say. Sigma. What are you doing? Just checking your email, bro. You want? Can you do me a favor? Can you do me a favor? Please. Which? You're gonna check the machine. Here's which one. One. But that's one before you go to that friendly. This yeah, there's any there things on there. Can't see me. I would make you just have a scene set up to it. I mean, this would be one scene, and then you're popping it here. I guess it's just small. Like this could be, I don't know, like if your regular setup like this. What is your regular setup? It should be like this. Yeah. I mean, you could look at it. I can change the camera. But yeah, basically. Yeah. Most people are really good. Yeah, this is stuff. But that's why I do want to. I'm born. Like I did this new one, I'm like, this seems like you sound. It sounds wonderful. Yeah, I love it. His outfit looks way better than yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what are you using? Are you using much? Yeah, it would just be your output. But I mean, you can't do it now because you're streaming right now. No. Yeah. You won't be able to adjust it. You would just change it. Seconds. Increase the bit rate. No, because right now you're the max you can you're streaming right now, so you can in the pocket it's like 1080. That's why you should like look at my face loading and shit conference. Yeah. You know? That's the best thing I've done. Not the best necessarily better, but like the thing I found was going to be yeah, there's things are good. Okay. You should do something last. Yeah. Yeah. Streamlabs, I think they probably have less control for Streamlabs. But you can I don't know what it looks like on Mac, but like I think it might be different on Mac, right? Yeah. That's the only thing. True. All right, cheers. What is your freeze kind of precisely? I don't really know. Oh, classic. All right, stream. Well, Siegfried has spoken. He said it looks like buns the other way, so we're gonna. Well, if you could somehow increase the resolution, that'll be better. Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, I can't. Unfortunately, I don't know how to do that, guys. Well, we'll figure that out eventually. Just day by day, we're getting better at this whole thing. Just singles and doubles. That's how we're approaching this. Singles and doubles, baby. All right, so let's try this out. I'm gonna try to talk to Gemini, see if I can come up with like a good, plan for this. So da 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 da. And before I forget, let's create a new notebook LM. Welcome. Here we go. Suddenly or gradually, then suddenly. Hey, pick myself back up. I guess Toto Smoke, you're the fun is just transferred. You could call me the chancellor of the way on such a tax shishi. Alright, I low-key want to read this. Maybe I should make this thing just slightly smaller. And then if I zoom in on this and move it slightly to the left, then y'all can read it as well. I know nobody wants to read this. This is not active reading that I'm about to do, but just for information. Let me think for a moment. Is this actually what I need to do? No, it isn't. I'm gonna add that to there. Let's go through this. Let's say the fundamentals. Bitcoin obsolete other monies. Add. I wish I could bulk add, but that's fine. Okay, chapter 1, Bitcoin not blockchain. Learn your hotkeys, guys. That's one thing I will recommend. Google Chrome right now. Okay, so I'm pressing insert right here. I'm about to press Shift Tab. Oh no, Control Tab rather. It's gonna take me to the next one. And this is Command C, and then I do Control Shift Tab. That takes me back here. Add it here. Website. Command V. There we go. We're gonna add a new website. So I'm gonna go back to this one. Part 2, misconceptions. Bitcoin cannot be copied. Go back here, paste that URL there, insert, add a new one, go to website, go to this one. Bitcoin is not too volatile. Go into here, paste it there, go there, add a new website, go into here. Oh, I stopped doing the hotkey, I guess. Maybe this is faster. Just ever so slightly. For this. Add that, add this. I wonder if there's a hotkey to add these. Oh, wow. Gross. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Add. Website. Oh. Bitcoin cannot be banned. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Insert. Here we go. Here we go. Oh my gosh. Bitcoin is not a pyramid scheme. And a lot of chapters to this. A lot of chapters here, Parker. That's cool though. Parker Lewis. Shout out to Parker Lewis. Bitcoin fixes this. Insert another one. Bitcoin is a rally cry. Bitcoin is common sense. Huh. Hmm. Hmm. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. I'm getting antsy. I don't want to do this thing. I don't know why I decided to do this thing. It's one for all. Okay, insert. Oh my goodness gracious. So many chapters. Conclusions and acknowledgement. Conclusion. The great asymmetry. Insert. Okay, cool. Now I can close this down. I can close that down. We did that. All right. So, hey Gemini, I need help. Making just a little plan today. I have some thoughts that I'll just kind of read out to you, and hopefully you can help me make more of a just a nicer looking sort of list of tasks and how to go about it, whatnot. I'm really just trying to experiment here, so feel free to anticipate my needs or try interesting things for yeah, capturing this. So basically on today's live stream, the first thing that I need to solve, and probably the most important thing that for today to be a win, what I need to have figured out in the next basically 2 hours, because I got to drive and drop off Teresa's car, is one, I need to solve the timed out error that I'm getting in Clay. So there's, I guess, two solutions that I can think of off the top of my head. And there's probably several sort of sub tasks, sub challenges there. But what I think we can do is we should be able to grab the initial URL that V0 creates, because when it launches a new chat, once you actually type in and it starts the task, it does create a URL. It then also creates another URL once that task is totally finished. But I have tested it out, and both of those URLs actually work and will take you to the same place. And so I should be able to get that initial chat before Clay actually times out. The second one, the cleaner URL, that one takes longer, and Clay is timing out on that. So thinking about that, the second thing we could do is maybe, how can we dig into Clay a little bit and find a way to extend that function call sort of time or wait time? However, I don't know what the proper term is, so I'll need your help there. But like Clay basically is calling on this API, and the API isn't giving it its returned value that the API is supposed to return. So the function actually times out within Clay. You don't get the URL we're looking for, but that motion is already spun up. That API is already pinged, and so the thing that we wanted to do is being done. We're just not getting the expected output in time. So, like I said, either we can pass the initial URL faster and just get that out of the way earlier instead of waiting for the final one, or we can look into Clay and find out if there's a way for us to extend the time it waits for the API call to finish. That's the biggest thing that I need to figure out today. That's really the main one. What would be really nice to get to is like, hey, how can we make this table actually more advanced than just simply like, here's a Google Maps API call, and we create this V0 redesign website. So a few things that kind of come to mind. This is kind of within the confines of the V0, but like maybe we can find a way to create a better prompt that is adaptable within Clay. So we can use Clayagent to create the prompt, but the API is sort of set up to right now just handle the, hey, it says stock like redesign this website, and then the only thing that Clay is sending to us is the current web domain. There's two things I can do. You could get V0 Premium. In here, it actually has the option for creating a system prompt. So there's that. And I think that's useful. You also get like 5 to 20 times more usage is what the numbers that they say, I think. It's unfortunate that they don't just tell you what the usage is so that I can make that calculation for myself, but probably worth it to get a system prompt and just better or more like calls I can make to actually improve the thing. Um, this is moonshot idea, so please mark this down, but put it in a different section, not a part of the plan. But like maybe I can create another bot that actually goes and looks at the V0 chat, critiques the website, tells it how to improve, i.e., like, hey, you don't have these images. Go to this place, get these images from here. That's interesting. This one's more about like what integration's got to do. Is there a way that we can maybe use Claygen to look at their website to understand the vibe, a quote vibe, and try to then use that, analyze the quote vibe, and then send that maybe to like ChatGPT or some other logo generating tool that can do it like cheap and easy. The other thing we need to look at is potentially competitors. Like if we can search for competitors within Clay for this company, then perhaps we can actually use that for making the redesigned website have better SEO. I.e., if I'm looking for an Indian restaurant, maybe I type in something in Google around Indian restaurants. I'm hoping that the redesign thing just has better SEO. Potentially creating some conditional formats or conditional, things for the prompt, i.e., if the company has more than 5,000 reviews and has a higher than 4-star rating, maybe find a way to put that on the website redesign. And then I think another thing we do within Clay to make this not necessarily prompt better, but the table better is actually like use Clay to generate cold email that sort of says, hey, I redesigned your website. It's $500 to purchase it, $50 a month for hosting, and $10 for every change. So there's that. Other things that are on my mind, I'm interested in looking into like, hey, one V0 premium, like I said, so more usage can give a system prompt. But could we use Replit agent for this? Is that something that's worth exploring? Using a Replit agent? I imagine there must have been Replit APIs that are created that people are using for Clay through custom. So like, is there an integration there with Replit that is, interesting to Clay? I imagine there is, and I don't think there's currently a Replit integration. I'm using V0. I think that's definitely an interesting integration that they don't have yet. Maybe Lovable.dev, I think is another one. Yeah, because I only have like 2 hours, I think that's good. Yeah, help me think through that. What's my day look like here? Wow, that was fast. Holy jeez. Okay. I wonder if it's like creating this idea as it goes. Experiment with any available settings or workarounds. Challenges Clay might have a limitation on how much time it can be adjusted. Okay. Cool. Can you help me design the question for Clay's Slack group? I'll ask about extending it there, but I want you to ask some follow-up questions to me in order to create a really good question. So ask me 5 follow-up questions. I'll ramble about them and you focus on synthesizing for a detailed and clear question with the proper vocabulary. need you to diagnose the issue so you can explain the issue better. Yeah, basically, I'm using the HTTP API integration with Clay. I've developed my own API that basically will call uh, my server, or no, sorry. Yeah, so basically, the specific action that triggers the timeout is that I'm using the HTTP API integration within Clay. I've developed my own API. This involves like Puppeteer, actually going to a website, authenticating myself, and submitting a form that creates an action, and then I'm waiting for that action to be completed and get the URL. Basically, the issue is that it takes longer to get the URL than Clay's like timeout window for calling this API. Um, and so there isn't necessarily an error code right now. All it says within the column for HTTP API is timed out. Would love to learn how I could dig into the hood and debug this properly. Um, uh, in terms of my integration, yeah, basically I use the Google Maps API to get a list of local businesses in a particular area, and from there I check out their website, I get some information about them, and then I use this information to inform a prompt on a different AI tool. Um, Yeah, what I'm thinking I will do as a solution, although it's kind of hacky, is actually just get the initial URL because the final and the initial URL actually point to the same thing, but my tool right now is configured to wait for the final URL. So I can get the initial URL within my API, and that will work. But I think it's just interesting and useful to explore Clay at a deeper level and try to understand like how can I make this work within Clay as the API is currently set up, because that's what I'm trying to learn more about right now. Hey, that sounds pretty good. The only thing I would add is that when you talk about the problem description, you say currently when the timeout occurs, the Clay column for this HTTP API call simply displays timed out without a specific error code from my API. Um, there is no error occurring on my API. It's simply that Clay's my API is doing exactly what it needs to do. It's submitting this form, and it's creating this action on a different tool, and that's all that it's really configured to do. Except in my API, it waits until this final URL is created and returns that. But the issue is that before that is done, I can't or Clay times out. And so I could just get the initial URL rather than wait for that final one that my API is returning properly. Or I can find a way to extend the timeout length to make Clay wait longer or be more patient to get that final URL. That sounds great. Write out the entire question, please. Um, you are a, you're a, you're an impatient, uh, Slack community member and open source developer. Critique this question. All right, let me critique this question. This is way too long and overly detailed for a Slack mission. Nobody has time to read a novel. The core is simple. You've got a Puppeteer API that takes too long to respond, and Clay's timing and everything else is just left with us. What you should have had. Is there a way to extend the timeout limit for HTTP API? Puppeteer based API that needs more time to complete than the default time allows. That's it. That's your actual question. That is pretty good, but I think it could use slightly more detail. Please find a balance. Countering timeout issue with the custom API integrated. All right, Slack. Let's go in here. Support. Hey, good people. All right. Um, All right. Let's. So I should put that in here. Let's go revise. Close that down. Revise plan. So test retrieving the initial URL of the V0 chat to consistently determine. Okay. So, unfortunately, Clay doesn't have a built-in option to extend the default timeout period for HTTP API calls. However, we can suggest some strategies to handle longer running API calls. Optimize your API. Try to reduce response time if you. Let's pull this up. This is what you're seeing from the Clay channel. Optimize your API. Yeah. Use rate limiting in Clay's HTTP settings. You can set a request limit and duration to control how many requests are sent. This might help manage longer running calls. Implement pagination. If possible, break down your API response into smaller chunks that can be processed within Clay's timeout window. Consider a webhook approach. Instead of waiting for a response, have your API send a callback to Clay when the operation is complete. Oh, nice. Okay. So how would we say this? Gemini. So basically what they're saying, it's my issue. Okay, great. So I got some response from the Clay support channel. Basically it says, unfortunately, Clay doesn't have a built-in option to extend the default timeout period for an HTTP API call. However, they do suggest some strategies to handle longer running API calls effectively. So here are the 4 strategies. 1, you can optimize your API, which would look like trying to reduce the response time of your Puppeteer-based API. Number 2, you can do rate limiting. So in Clay's HTTP API settings, you can set a request limit and duration to control how many requests are sent within a given time frame. This might help manage longer running calls. Okay, so that one doesn't seem as relevant. I definitely think that, yeah, I mean, I can optimize it. That was sort of my initial plan. Number 3 is implementing pagination. So if possible, break down your API responses into smaller chunks that can be processed within Clay's timeout window. It would note, it would be really great to understand what Clay's timeout window is. Number 4, this one probably actually seems like the most interesting to me in terms of like a learning experience, would be consider a webhook approach. Instead of waiting for a response, have your API send a callback to Clay when the operation is complete. So they asked the follow-up question, can you provide more details about your API structure and the specific actions it's performing? This information would help suggest more tailored solutions. I guess my response to that, some more details. Well, let's stop there. Help me format that, add that to our understanding of this together, and then I have a subtask after that. How do I, is there any way to like collapse many minutes? So no direct timeout extension, response time, rate limiting, implement pagination, webhook, follow-up question they ask. So this API navigates a website, authenticates some of the form, and initiates an action. Your API currently waits for this action to complete, and then okay, let me share my API with you, and you can help explain. Let's do code folder index. Yeah, let's go with that. Upload. I think I'm gonna mute up here, guys. I want to eat some apple. I'm gonna play some music so it's not so silent or loud in here. Really? Made this beat, guys. Hey Gemini, so if you're unable to help me, I'm gonna use your more advanced model, the 2.5. I need you to not summarize this. I want you to try to capture in like the high fidelity the details of our conversation. But can you sort of capture that, and then I'll copy and paste that, put it into Google Doc, and then share that with another Gemini chat. This is very, very detailed. Let me just say, I am so, let me change the camera for this one. Hey, yeah. Hey, yeah. Let me say, I am so impressed with what Google is doing in the AI space, particularly because they just got shit on based on their first rollout, and obviously like major L that they actually created the Transformers, and yeah. But anyways, the products that they're producing right now, like Notebook LM, I played with it on stream a few days ago. That first 120 minutes playing with it was by far the biggest like light bulb for me, and I was like, man, I just wish I had this in university. Even right now, it's just such a super cool tool. Just the ability to like, you know, put text into it and essentially have a podcast generated on that. And that's like, I listen to some podcasts for entertainment, mostly about like sports. But a lot of the times, I would say, you know, 80% of my podcast listening is about like getting information. And so I typically like to look for like a specific author or a specific figure that I feel like has some like specialized knowledge, and I'm like, I can understand something from listening to you, and get like valuable information that can point me in the place, in the directions to then understand you. And so the fact that I can actually just be like, okay, I have the source material that I can engage with myself, but I can put it into this tool and I can ask it questions about it, but also it generates a podcast on it. Ooh, very cool. Anyways, let me mute back out. I'll change the song. This is definitely all of my beats, and I have to use my beats on the stream because I've run into a few copyright issues, which I mean makes sense. It makes sense, but it would be nice to just listen to the music that I want to listen to. But I think it'll actually just cut all of my audio. So it's a builder's world, I guess. You know, if you want to use something, build it yourself. If you want to use something how you want to use it, build it yourself. He says as he uses a MacBook and an iPhone. This is this garbage piano I was playing. My parents used to have this like beautiful Steinway for a few years, and it was kind of like right around the time this COVID happened, and so I was like just learning how to make music, and I never took no lessons. Like I don't have no musical theory sort of understanding, but I played a lot of just little stupid riffs on that piano. What is? I can't remember the pentatonic scale. One of the pentatonic scales on the piano, you can actually just play all the black keys, and if you put your pedal on the delay, if you put your foot on the delay pedal, it all just kind of melds together, and it's beautiful. And it was great for me because I was like, I can doodle on this and it sounds nice to my ear. I know the rhythm isn't great, doesn't make sense musically, but like all of these notes work together. This beat's kind of tough. That's tough. Okay, I kind of like that beat there. heat that I made here. Eating apple, getting muted up. I'm loving this beat. I don't think this is the most graceful transition. This is 422N, 422M, and 422I. I was in my bag in April of 2022, I guess. I'm really getting off track here. So how to effectively implement a webhook. That's one thing that we can do, is the webhook. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Well, let's actually look at this. So API, conceptual Node.js. So I'm gonna let me take a break. And then we don't have much time, so I'm gonna Sorry, guys. All right, let me find this nice beat that I have, and then I'm actually just gonna mute it up for me. Why look so lonely? Why? All right, so muted it up. Should still be playing. Let's do a Pomodoro. It's actually, fucking you for a bit. So basically, it's a detailed recap, provides excellent context. Let's break down your questions. Based on this understanding, focus on practical solutions within the Clay and API environment. So how to effectively implement a webhook approach with Clay in the current API structure. So this is the most promising solution recommended by Clay support and generally the standard pattern for handling long running asynchronous tasks initiated by a system with shorter timeouts, conceptual flow. So Clay to the API is the initial request. Clay calls your generate endpoint via the HTTP API. Your API immediately responds to Clay instead of waiting for Puppeteer. Does the following: gives a unique identifier, job ID for the request using the UUID, starts the Puppeteer task in the background without awaiting its completion in the main request. Okay. So const Clay webhook URL. Your extract Puppeteer logic now accepts job ID and callback URL. It should call the callback URL on completion of our job error. So process this, let browser equal null, try const result URL, await run Puppeteer task on the website, await Axios job, Axios post, I love that they have terms and stuff in here. Well done. Well done on the docs, Clay. Shout out to the product support specialists. Tutorials. Let's see, is there a webhook tutorial? I wonder if that, when I click tutorial, if it goes to a webhook tutorial. Doesn't seem like it's working. So, let's go in here. Project Clay doesn't have a built-in option to extend. That's so cool. Amazing. I love that. Wow. That's awesome. That is... Wow. Well done. Very interesting. You know what I love about that is that it actually really promotes people to ask these questions on the Slack channel. And it gives like a much broader scope of problems to a broader scope of people, right? Like I went into the support channel and asked for that because, well, one, I want to engage in the community, but two, I was just like, well, who's the right person to ask for something like this? And so I mentioned yesterday on yesterday's stream that I've been talking with Daniel Kupka, and he's been awesome. But any issue that I have, like if I went to him, for instance, in LinkedIn, that's like that's a closed garden, if you will. Like nobody would get value out of that problem being solved if it was a novel problem by being in there. Whereas in Slack, if I ask that question, if I ask that question in there, not only am I triggering a response in my actual Clay instance, which I think is an awesome integration, and I love that that happens there, but also, you know, everybody sees that question. And so I still have the personalized one-to-one interaction, but it's also available for everybody, which is great. Super cool. Love that. I wonder, I just thought of this. Plan, looking into moonshot, let's say idea 8, score leads based on website evaluation, analyze a business's tech stack to see if this would be an easy migration. Analyze likelihood of them upgrading. What would that be based on? I guess tech stack. What was I just looking at that made me think of that? Tech stack, I think, was one. I don't remember the other ones. Maybe like views / ratings, i.e. higher amount of reviews and higher rating likely correspond pretty tightly to customer focus from the organization. I really wish that it would find their load better. add their logo. So specify setting up webhooks involves several key steps in your application or install. So enable webhooks, configure the trigger, select the events that trigger the webhook, set the URL. Is this done within Play or is this something I set up? Discuss the primary feature design for this asynchronous callback. Phase up your make for a webhook, zap your make, your API, generate waits for response to cross-booking bridge time like apps or direct webhooks. Inform is for first image. While not solving the timeout, use confirm to check the status. Yeah, let's do this. Okay, I'm gonna actually just give this whole thing code. Here is my index.ts. Webhooks allow Clay to automatically receive data from other applications whenever specific events occur. Using HTTP post requests in a JSON format, they instantly update your table with new data, eliminating the need for manual entry. This is especially useful for real-time updates like adding new leads or modifying record based on external customer actions. And I just have too many ideas. Let's do this one. This is use Clay to prospect into RCs. Could use Clay to help grow. Use Puppeteer for filing claims. Develop another API that looks that show confirmation of a claim being filed. Okay. Webhooks consider sources For first-party data sources, you can add webhooks as either a new or existing source link sources. So first if I go into here, monitor a webhook, okay. That's how you do that. To secure your webhook, you can include an authentication token. You can use the xClay webhook auth and paste it in the token provided. Make sure you copy the token immediately, as you can only access tokens once. You can use webhooks in Typeform to automatically send form data to Clay whenever someone submits a response. I don't really know what Typeform is. Pulling data from a webhook. Use the URL, connect to session webhooks. Where is this? Zero. Is this it? Start from the templates. Can I not? Integrations. Import. All needs from this place. Import from the CSV. Find jobs, find people. Monitor webhook. There it is. Okay. Can I not? I think I might take this off the screen here just because I don't actually know what kind of information it's going to expose here. Okay, so locate the URL. Copy the webhook URL from your Clay table setup. You can find the URL within the webhook settings. So copy that, and we're gonna go in here and bring this down here as well. Put that in the env. What do they say to call it? Connect tab, add a webhook. What does it say to add with? Call it that. Right. Web URL. This one. Copy that. Open the connect section of form in Typeform. What is this? Open the connect section of form in Typeform. What is that? Typeform is a free customizable forms. Do I have to use Typeform? Okay, here's their docs on webhooks. What's that? All right, here we go. Let's try this out. So in the terminal, this is ngrok. This is let's close this down. This is the what server, I guess. Server. This is GSC watch. Okay, so server's not running currently. Basically, what is this? Webhook is declared, but its value is never read. Yeah, that makes sense. So right now we need to npm I UUID Axios. What else did it suggest? UUID Axios and types UUID. Types UUID. Alright, so now we want to import Axios from Axios. Import UUID. V4 is UUID, that's the one. Is that right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what I removed from this stuff. Yep. So we've configured that. Yes, we have all this. Yes. So Puppeteer logic mostly unchanged. Ensure it throws errors on failure. Initialize browser variable outside try block. I'm interested why it wants variable browsers implicitly has a type of any in some locations where its type cannot be determined. I'm pretty This is recommended for server deployment. Adds flags that might help prevent detection efficient. New page, optional set up a realistic user agent at opt-in faster. I'm not. So wait. So. Yeah. I am not looking for any optimizations from you just yet. I know that this tool works as expected so far. I just want to add webhook functionality so I can see it work in full effect within Clay. From there, once it works entirely, I will look into some of these optimizations you've suggested. Until then, till I say so, I'd like to just keep it as close to saying here is a resource for Clay webhooks. Check it out if you need. Alright. This is work chat. Wait. Let's get rid of that. And let's get rid of this, because I'm pretty sure that stuff wasn't there before. Just want to go step by step here as I kind of explain this thing. I'm like, hey, before we do all that, I'd love to just keep it simple. I do want to initialize a repo before this gets commit everything, init, commit that. Publish brands. Okay, cool. Let's just confirm that that's on my GitHub. Okay, that's up there. Cool. That looks pretty cool. I like that. I'll let me start that. Put references, random notes, whatever. Close this. Okay, it looks like it worked. So I'm happy with that. Now we're going to try to change this whole thing, and hopefully it doesn't break. Oh. Surely that doesn't break, right? Okay, added these dependents, added Clay webhook URL, created the process Puppeteer job and background function now wraps the call to your original generate. Okay, it waits handle and Puppeteer process, access process and the results job ID, generates the job ID. Now, when Clay calls generate, we'll get an immediate 202 response with the job ID. The Puppeteer process runs in the background, and upon completion or error, great. Now, how do I set all this up within Clay? We're just gonna keep powering through because I definitely messed around a little bit too much today. So I have the web URL, open the connect session of form. Head to the webhook section. Okay, that's already there. Enter your Clay web URL in the type form. Test the webhook. To test the connection, view deliveries in Clay to send test requests to your Clay table. It looks like the test was successful. Okay, let's walk through setting up a Clay side asynchronous API webhook. The process involves two main parts. So here's a step-by-step guide, referencing concepts from Clay webhook guide you shared. So setting up the initial, make sure in your main Clay table, websites to redesign has the following columns: input website URL, job ID, text will store the unique ID received from your API, the generation status. So let's pull up Clay here. Okay, so we are in V0 here. Create the input to website URL. Make sure you maintain job ID. Generation status, generate URL error message. To create the initiate generation workflow, you can trigger this workflow however, like run one, so select rows or schedule this table. I'd run arrangement H2. Post to my ngrok thing, add a header contact type. Yep. Replace with the actual variable picker from the column class. Yeah. Run this work for once. Map body job ID from the API response. So after setting up the request, Clay will likely show you the expected response fields, status, job ID. Sometimes to leave. I can't be late. Look at how far this place is. Gosh. So this is gonna take me 37 minutes. What if I wanna arrive by today at I got Seward on this. Dude, am I gonna finish this before I have to go? setting up the initial API. So edit column. So use AI to select HTTP this. Configure this as a post. We're going to this Grok endpoint. We're passing that fields. So what are the fields that we want to create? Create them if they don't exist. Job ID. Job ID, generation status, generated to store the file. Generated. Generated URL, error status. Okay, create the initiate generation. You can trigger this workflow however you like, run once. Add step enrichment HTTP, give it a clear name like call, generate API. Enter the URL where the API is accessible. Headers, add a header content type application JSON. I think this only does JSON, to be honest. Custom rate limit. Headers. Yeah, JSON. Map the output to table. After setting up the request, Clay will likely show you the expected response field status job ID. Map body job ID from the API response to your job ID column. Map body status. Run this workflow once, test row, ensure generation status. Okay. So, save and don't run. Can we duplicate this column? I do want to duplicate it. This time I want to get rid of this, and we're going to get rid of this Gmail. (202) action content. Job ID. Okay, I've done it. It creates this 202 status. It gives me the job ID. I'm setting up the request. It gives me the status. Map the job. Okay. Run this for once. Populate the job ID. Generate some process and columns. Check your API logs to confirm you received the request and logged. And the DuckJobs or background process, setting up the webhook receiver and click. This part listens to your API to send the results back. Create the receive result workflow. It's often cleanest to make this a separate workflow that you might integrate depending on your exact needs. Add trigger webhook. When you add this trigger, Clay will generate a unique URL. This is crucial. Copy this URL action, go to your API server, open that. Yeah, put it in there. Restart your API server so it picks up the new environment variables. Send test domain to help Clay recognize the data fields your API will send. You need to send a sample post request to the template. Similar lookup. Find original row ID by job ID. Select table. Choose a table. Use a Facebook website. Use a column equals job ID received from webhook. Okay, so should there not be like more outputs here? Actions, imports, right to a table. All right, it's time for a break. So we'll take a 5-minute break. Alright, so I can't hang out too much longer. Cell details this. Error message, waiting failed. 180 seconds exceeded. Okay. Interesting. Did it do it though? Successful. Okay. Puppeteer job failed. Waiting. It didn't look like it failed though. What's up with that? Okay, so we're gonna put this here. I'm gonna say text job ID. Add a column. This is text. This is status. This is error. Job. And hopefully delete that. And the URL is going to be URL. So, this said two. Okay, so now we can map job ID. We'll map job ID. So, not really sure why it failed. Did it? Let's pull this up. So, clicking submit, waiting for generators to complete URL change. Error, Puppeteer automation timeout failed. Waiting failed, 180 milliseconds completed. Sending error payload to this, Puppeteer job failed. Okay, so this is what we're seeing. Let's go into here. Update the row. Solved. Wait for function. Find. Wait. Function. Selector. Wait for navigation. Wait for selector, wait for selector. Wait for navigation. Wait for function. Wait for selector. Wait for selector. Wait for function. Let's say 36. Let's try that. Okay. Just there was some like, you know, details I didn't want to share, but I can pull this up. So basically, we created a new workbook here, which calls it. So let's actually try to run this again. So hope this generates a new job ID. So this is launched. Perfect. It's logging in there. Should create a new job ID. That's great. This should receive a webhook shortly. This new job ID. I'm really hoping this just works because I do have to run here and I would hate to finish today's sesh without getting this working. But this is a valuable experience because I'm learning how this webhook thing works, which I actually don't even know if I really need the webhook for this. Personally, I don't think I do. So yeah, let's see. It gave it a 6-minute window, so I'm gonna let this go for a minute. Let's go. Hopefully this works. Still going, still going. Man, taking this time. All right, so there it is. Cool. What's going on here now? So it should have that URL. What does it say? Waiting for the generation to complete. The URL change. The URL has changed. So something. See, okay, so I know that the generation is complete. Okay, we have an issue. Okay, so we have an issue with our script. I know the URL has changed and the generation is completed because I see it. But when I look at server logs, it is waiting for the URL to change still. That's annoying. Fuck. What am I choose? It bothers me that that's. So what happened here? Why is it not? It's not recognizing the change. Login field, yeah. Wait for navigation. So that's all working. Query selector, prompt form, yep. Wait for function, window location, expected initial URL. Make sure it's a generation URL timeout. So window location href. Wait for the URL to change using the wait for function as in the original script console. I don't think we need to. Let's also enhance the main cache bug to generate any screenshot if necessary. I don't know if we need to really. I'm not sure that I need this URL change because like b0.dev like chat. I honestly don't know if we need wait for it to change to something like when it changes the second it initiates generation. Changes. Replace the previous manual block. Can you write out higher scripts? console log, clicking submit, waiting for file generation. Oh wait, browser closed. What is it? Console log, clicking submit. What does it say above here? Code before clicking submit. Clicking. Can run starts. Okay. Please work. And this becomes a successful. Hey, hey, da 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 da, hey. Hey, da na 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 na. Yeah, see, this is so slow. Sipping nectar with perfection. The king in motion, cruising oceans wide, sipping power like a potion. Lessons piling up quick. I don't need no lectures. About to be quick, I'll be stacking up conjectures. Yeah, I was back up in the mix. I was ducking all the pressures. Perfection. While they sit there stressing, I'll be out collecting lessons and blessings. Talking about building an empire in marble flow settings. Since I was a child, yeah, my mama said this. You was born and bred to lead, gotta feed. Jeez, da-na-na-na, da-na-na-na-na-na. Hey, yeah. Alright, cool. So, still waiting. Current URL is this. Interesting. So, hey, yeah, da-na-na-na, da-na-na-na-na-na, yeah, na-na-na-na. Open. Okay, so it does have. Okay, so how is this supposed to work? Because I see. Simple recognition. So da. Hey, da. Let's. Interesting. So here are the logs. Did this not time out yet? This is so interesting. It doesn't seem like it wanted to exit properly. He looks very informed, show the refined Poland log. He's working as a tenant, revealing more about VERO's behavior. Initials chat, URL detected chat. The second chat, URL detected interest in the URL changed again while it's still in the generation phase from this to this. Did it change twice? Dun, 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 dun. Well, no, then we are doing it wrong. This URL is perfectly fine as is. This URL is perfectly fine as is. Please tell me that I can just exit at this point. I am pointing to the right website. What am I to do? Yeah, this is working fine. Yeah, I don't need no. Yeah. Okay, so we're kind of pushing it close here. Where's this close? Where's this close? Close. Hey. Get down here. Yeah. Okay. Closing, click and submit. Waiting for a final generation policy. Click and submit. Okay, so npm run start. Okay, I'm gonna run this one more time. I'm really freaking hoping that this works because I have to run. Please. All right, so there it is. That should be okay. Publish your job. Wait for timeout is not a function. Oh, perfect. Fantastic. All right, well, that's my beautiful stream. I have to run. I got some stuff I gotta do. Do something cool, he said. I'm trying, man. All right, peace, chat.